Today I'm reading chapter 55 of a book called Hitler's Secret. This story is about two Jews who are sent undercover who do not know each other's real names. They have code names. And they are sent to find Hitler's secret, which turns out to be his daughter. I'm reading the last chapter of the story because something happens to the daughter, and it's a very sad story, but it's also very enlightening as to the time that it took place. Chapter 55, Heading Home. Otto and Lenny made their way down a limestone path beneath tall cypress trees to the jetty. They had driven back from the mountains to the villa by the lake in the morning, rested in the afternoon, and Durand had redressed their wounds and made them a delicious tea. McPherson had hoped to get in the air as soon as it was dark, but dense fog had surfaced on the surface of the lake when the sun went down, and only now, in the small hours of the morning, had it lifted enough to allow them to take off. Otto had to use a walking stick to help him with his injured leg. He limped along, and Lenny took his arm a couple of times when he stumbled. Soon they could see the outline of the plane moored outside the boathouse. A tow line was attached to a launch. They stopped and waited for Admiral McPherson and Durand to catch up with them. The little coal of tobacco in the bowl of McPherson's pipe glowed in the darkness. "All set?" asked McPherson gruffly. Lenny and Otto nodded. "My goodness, you two deserve a medal." Durand thrust out her hand and first shook Lenny's hand and then Otto's, before leaning forward to kiss Otto on the cheek. "And so good looking." Otto felt his cheeks hot against the cool night air.
Goldie.
"Quickly now," ordered McPherson. He helped the children climb up the ladder into the rear cockpit. They stepped out into it and dropped through a hatch in the floor to the cabin. Otto glanced back, and in the darkness it seemed to him that McPherson and the woman were embracing. He looked away and hurriedly followed Lenny down the ladder. It was dark in the cramped cabin, a little light seeping through the small windows. After a minute or two, McPherson stuck his head through the hatch. "What do you think of this? More comfortable than the way you came over?" He was trying to be cheery, but Otto and Lenny didn't smile. There were 3 narrow canvas cots bolted to the floor, and in front of them a large storage locker containing thick flying jackets and oxygen-breathing equipment. Both Otto and Lenny stared at the third cot and thought about the girl it was meant for. "Get yourself squared away," McPherson said before disappearing from sight. Lenny and Otto lay down on the cots and fastened the safety belts across their hips. A moment or two later, the launch's engine rose in pitch, and then the seaplane was being towed out into the lake. After about 5 minutes, Otto and Lenny felt the tow line give, and the plane glided to a halt. Then the engine fired and the propeller turned. The cabin was filled with the vast throbbing sound as the revolutions built, vibrating the whole airframe, and finally the plane was moving, bouncing over the swell like a speedboat, shaking the cots. And then they were airborne. There was no more juddering, only smooth air and the sound of equipment shifting and sliding as the plane climbed steeply away from the lake. It banked hard to the right, and for an instant Otto saw the surface of the Bonden Sea in the moonlight, like a quivering mass of mercury. Somewhere high above them to the north were 6 Spitfires fitted with long-range field tanks, waiting to shepherd them back to England. Angels of a different kind. Guardian angels. And if they got there, who knew what the future held? Otto and Lenny lay still in the darkness of the cabin, and Otto's left hand was his father's watch. Slowly, he reached out with his freshly bandaged hand and found Lenny's. Gently they interlaced their fingers. "It's Rebecca," she said quietly. Otto smiled in the darkness, finally hearing Lenny's real name. "And mine is Conrad," he replied. "Thank you."
Thank you to Goldie for sound effects.